Story 1. Personal chef, not having to spend time cooking or deciding what to cook, and getting a 5-star meal every time. Sold. Story 2. Massages and physical therapy customized to your body's challenges make a significant difference. I wish I could receive them anytime without worrying about the cost. Story 3. About 5 acres of land, with a nice stone house and a tall fence with a strong gate. Story 4. Shoes. I will have those things tailored to my feet, and I will walk more comfortably than everyone I know or do not know. Good shoes help your back as well, so comfortable feet mean less back pain. Story 5. A distant, tranquil place in the countryside that you can visit whenever you want, or a cruising sailboat no bigger than 16 meters. Ideally a cutter that can take you somewhere peaceful. Story 6. Traveling, seeing the world, and experiencing other cultures is life-changing. Story 7. Giving freely to others without worrying about providing for my family. Story 8. I grew up very poor and have gotten steadily richer. Our household income is around $550,000, and I am about to take a job that will bring us up to $750,000 per year. Things that made me happier: living within walking distance to work, outsourcing laundry, hiring a maid, cooking less, taking a taxi instead of mass transit, flying economy plus instead of economy on planes, staying at least a 4-star resort when traveling, spending money on dinner, drinks, and travel with friends. After having a child, hiring a night nurse for the first few months was life-saving. Best money I've ever spent. Using a nanny instead of daycare made my life easier. Paying for childcare occasionally on Friday and Saturday nights so we can have dates and see friends. Living in a safe neighborhood surrounded by other successful people. Having a gym membership at a nice gym. Things that don't make me happier: expensive clothing, although I buy quality items and use a tailor. Expensive watches. Expensive electronics. A big house. Going to expensive nightclubs. Artwork. Expensive furniture. By experiences, either things that make your life easier or are fun. Material things don't really increase happiness. Story 9. The best luxury when you are wealthy is paying others to do tasks because it is simply not worth your time to do them. If you can earn $500 or more per hour, it is a waste of your time to do something mundane around the house when you can pay someone else $30 to $50 per hour. Wealthy individuals can always make more money, but time is the most limited resource. Story 10. Not having to worry about money is the most important thing in the world. Financial problems cause most divorces, and they lead you to make decisions that you regret for the rest of your life. Story 11. Privilege. No matter what happens, you will never have to suffer the anxiety that comes with having to budget. Regardless of whatever trauma you experience, you can always afford therapy, rehabilitation, and so on. Story 12. Personal chef. I do not want to decide what to eat for every meal and then spend 3 hours cooking it for 10 minutes of eating. I do not even mind doing the washing up. Story 13. High-quality mattress, pillows, and blackout blinds. You are supposed to spend around 1/3 of your life sleeping. Might as well make it the highest quality sleep you can. Story 14. Cleaning and kitchen staff. I want my house to be like a hotel room. I step out and come back, and everything is clean and made up. Anytime I want, I can have anything cooked to order. Actually, maybe I would just go live in a hotel. That was Vladimir Nabokov's dream, to live in a hotel. When he had the money, that was what he and his wife did. Story 15. Rich means not having to work, having time. Do the things you thought you would never have a chance to do and spend it with the people you care about. Story 16. As someone who has made a lot of money, bathrooms that are essentially at-home spas. Massive rain showers, beautiful, massive standalone bathtubs, baskets full of towels and goodies, and one of those massive sinks that looks like a sculpture. Oh, and a separate room for the expensive Japanese toilet. This is not a joke. I swear to God, the bathroom is my happy place. Story 17. Personal chef. Housekeeping maid. Personal fitness trainer. Personal financial manager. That is it, and I am set. The rest I can manage. Story 18. A cheap car for getting around town to do grocery shopping and visit friends. Like, I don't know, a 2002 Toyota or something pre-used. Story 19. The largest yacht that can be operated by one person. The open oceans of the world are one of the last truly free places on Earth. Story 20. Flying business class. Wake up feeling refreshed, and the jet lag does not hit as hard. Even transits through airports feel better because the business class lounges help too. Story 21. A gym inside my home. I would want free weights, benches, a power cage or squat rack, barbells, yoga mats, a cable machine, and some cardio equipment. Basically, everything I would need without having to leave the house. If I could take it a step further, I would have a steam room, a closet full of workout clothes, nice towels, and a super nice bathroom. Story 22. A driver. Uber is convenient, but I would love to have an always-on-call blacked-out Escalade driven by a friend, so I never have to worry about parking, washing the car, flat tires, or other issues. Story 23. Indoor pool. It will likely cost you a six-figure sum considering all the various expenses involved. Story 24. Really high-end stereo system. At a certain point, the differences in quality between the $2,000 turntable setup I have, which I know sounds like a lot, but it is well within the range of what still gets called a budget setup in audiophile circles, and one that costs thousands of dollars are not huge, but there is still a difference. Story 25. Flying first class or private. Space. Noise. Waiting for a lavatory. Smells. Sick strangers. Driver. Riding train or subway. I had a lot of time to read, work, listen to music, or nap. Driving 2 to 3 hours in traffic now is a huge time loss. Story 26. Good house close to everywhere. Personal chef. Also, considering hiring someone to ensure that I remain wealthy. Story 27. The only luxury is time and space. Anytime your money saves you time or helps you avoid crowds, it is worth it 100%. Story 28. A brand new car. Depreciation be damned. It must be awesome to have a car and know that it will always work and that no one else has tampered with it. Story 29. Clean, crisp, fresh, high thread count bed sheets every day. Story 30. New socks every day. I like wearing new socks, so I wear them once and then donate them to charity. Story 31. I would love to have a personal chef and a personal trainer. Story 32. Beef steak. I'm talking inch-thick T-bones, ribeye, even a thick porterhouse. $70 to $100 steaks. Story 33. If I were really wealthy, I would say the best luxury is traveling the world, staying in elegant hotels, and tasting all the excellent food. Story 34. A chef, personal trainer, and personal assistant. That should do it. Story 35. Newer Ford F-150 trucks are like land yachts. People who are not truck enthusiasts often underestimate them. Story 36. Personal trainer. I want to get a body that allows me to live to 150, as finely tuned as a microchip. Story 37. First class travel. I have been lucky enough to travel business class twice in my life, and it transforms traveling from a chore into a mini holiday before you reach your destination. Story 38. Everything regarding freeing up my own time for chores and errands. Pay well, provide housing separate from the main house with its own driveway and yard space, and offer the best benefits. If disaster strikes, they will have equal access to the fallout shelter that I will obviously invest in. With my loyal and highly skilled attendees, I will have separate houses for different types of housekeepers. Metal worker, carpenter, mechanic, electrician, farmer. Not only will I be able to do my own projects, but I will also have awesome paid neighbors. I will still enjoy my passion for figuring things out that are slightly beyond my reach, and I will have the best, most incentivized friends. Hopefully, if World War III ever occurs, I will have a loyal community capable of utilizing each other's strengths where they are weak. We will survive and thrive, maybe to once again rebuild on the surface. All jokes aside, housekeeping, personal chefs, and aides would be well worth it. Story 39. Luxury car, first-class flight, very important person parking, modern house. Story 40. Having never flown first class, I assume that flying first class is worth it. Story 41. Artifacts. Imagine being able to teach your children about history with actual pieces of history. Story 42. Some form of chef or nutritionist. An accountant. Pool and hot tub. Influence. A large open property solely for letting my dogs run freely. Work-life balance. A legitimate security system. Story 43. A fully equipped mansion powered by solar and wind energy, featuring a state-of-the-art security system. A delivery driver brings all stock resupplies once a week. Additionally, there is a full suite of housekeeping services, a robot dog, and a helicopter. Story 44. Anything that gives you more time and convenience. Personal assistant, butler, maid, nanny, and so on. Story 45. Top-of-the-line Toto bidet toilet with all the features. Story 46. I am not cooking, cleaning, or driving again. They will all be paid handsomely. Story 47. I have never actually flown business class before, but economy is unsatisfactory. Therefore, I assume I will choose business class. Story 48. Being rich would allow me to get good healthcare, which is a luxury I cannot afford, and buy good, decent groceries instead of the prepackaged, overproduced engineered food from Walmart. Story 49. Actual artwork on my walls, like the kind you loan to a museum for a special exhibit and have it labeled as from a private collection. Yes, that is my Magritte, but you would not know it. Story 50. A housekeeper, not just a cleaner, even part-time. Pay my bills, organize my laundry, book the gardener, make sure the toilet paper is stocked. Story 51. I would build a pool in my greenhouse. Swimming is my favorite exercise. Story 52. A family doctor. As I get older, I become more health conscious. I would like to provide us with good health and peace of mind. Story 53. Flying private. I have had the absolute pleasure of doing so a couple of times. A company I worked for chartered a jet to take several of us cross-country. There is no security line, and the plane waits for you to be ready. One of the people who needed to come with us was stuck in traffic, so we ordered a pizza and had it delivered to the plane on the tarmac. If you can afford it, it is absolutely the way to travel. Story 54. I know wealthy people who say one of the best things you can buy is a view. Story 55. I work as an orthopedic surgeon. I have been to his house. A big house. From seeing it, I would say my luxury would be having my living room furniture not touching a wall. Story 56. First-class tickets. No more wasting an entire day due to overnight flights spent trying to sleep while sitting. Story 57. Helping others and truly making a real difference. Not just sitting on wealth and counting numbers. Story 58. A few years ago, I was looking at mattresses and tried one that was comfortable beyond all reasonable understanding. Clouds wished they could be compared to this mattress. If I remember correctly, a twin alone cost $4,000. So yeah, that purchase did not happen. Sometimes, though, I like to dream about winning a little money that would allow me to pay off all my debt with enough money left over for that glorious mattress. Story 59. Truly private property with a body of water and at least 100 acres of wooded land. Story 60. Learning. I would buy all the courses that exist on Earth for everything. I want to know it all, but unfortunately, it comes with a price. Story 61. Landscapers. I would not mind mowing my lawn, but when you travel for a month or more at a time, it is not practical. Get a good landscaper and let them handle all that work. Story 62. Gutting my house and remodeling it to my exact desires and specifications. I really like the home I am in now, but it was built in 1969 and was mostly original when we bought it. I used some of the profits from selling my last house to completely redo the flooring, which has been a godsend. However, there is still much more that needs updating. My dream is to have enough money to pay a respectable contractor to completely modernize the whole house all at once. Story 63. A personal fitness and meal planner. If I were hypothetically wealthy, I would have the time to plan everything myself. I am very tall, so maybe business class on an airplane. Story 64. Having your own private jet and dedicated pilots, preferably one that can fly 10 or more hours non-stop, such as the Gulfstream G600, offers significant advantages. If you travel frequently or have a family with young children or elderly members, you can fly comfortably and save valuable time. The saying goes that you cannot buy time, but when you fly private, you truly can. The cabin is secure and private, allowing you to conduct business openly. You avoid losing time in airports waiting to board, going through security, or experiencing delays. The plane never leaves without you, so if you need to extend or shorten your stay, you have that flexibility. Private jets can land at much smaller airports than commercial jets, bringing you closer to your destination. This alone can save you hours. Add multiple cities in one day, and it becomes a genuine time machine. Story 65: Travel. I used to travel a lot for work, all over the world, and go to fancy hotels, restaurants, and tourist locations. All of it was covered. It has been a decade since I switched careers, but I really miss it. Story 66: Maxed out personal computer setup. I would rather play a game at 4K resolution with 480 frames per second and ultra settings than at the standard 1440p resolution with 120 frames per second in high settings. Story 67: Super fancy, technologically advanced, super plush mattress and bedding. Story 68: I would only wear socks one time. Brand new socks every day. Story 69: I would like to have my own airplane or at least access to fly privately on demand. I like the idea of just making a call and going wherever I want for the weekend. Story 70: Paying for Montessori or private school for my daughter, as well as trips to farms and Disney World, and being able to buy a nice house with a big backyard for her. Possibly a pet room inside the house for a bunny and a hamster so the bunny can have room to hop about. Story 71: Healthy food, quality well-made purchases such as clothes and furniture, new cars with no maintenance and time. Story 72: It is either the ability to have a cleaner on call, the ability to build a home to fit my physical restrictions, or the ability to get items and systems that could help with those physical restrictions. Story 73: Personal chef, fresh healthy meals, tasty snacks, and healthy smoothies every day. Story 74: Time, be free from finance. There are many things you can do, such as traveling, dining out, and trying new experiences. Story 75: Personal chef. Never having to worry about making food again would be amazing. Story 76: Buying a lot of land and large houses for the family to unite. Story 77: I would say a personal chef would be worth it. Having someone who can prepare healthy, delicious meals tailored to my tastes would save time and make it easier to maintain a balanced diet. Story 78: Definitely a personal chef. Never having to worry about cooking again sounds like paradise. Story 79: A general personal assistant valet. The kind of person I can send a message to say, take care of X, and they take care of it. Making reservations, shopping for trivial items, paying people who need to be paid, and handling all the petty administrative duties that come with being a person in modern society. Story 80: High quality, well-made clothing with tailoring when needed. Story 81: 41-foot Apache raceboat with a pair of 1,000 horsepower big block engines. Specifically, Alice Veit. I would bring her back home to Michigan. Story 82: Buying high-quality but expensive goods can be worthwhile. Some companies make shoes that allow you to send them back for refurbishment, essentially getting them made new again for less than the cost of a cheap pair of shoes. The catch is that the initial investment is around $300 per pair. Many products use similar systems. For example, Jaguar used to offer lifetime repairs on their cars. Story 83: A cleaner. Not a cleaner, a cleaner. The no women, no children kind of cleaner. Story 84: Private jet, private cook, house manager, landscapers, maids, personal trainer, massage therapist, accountant, wealth management, second homes, and more. Story 85: Contractors. When there is a problem with the house or a project I want done, it would be so nice to just call a highly rated contractor to do it without worrying about the price and ensuring it gets done right. I have cheaped out on some of that work before, and it was very difficult to deal with. Story 86: A high-end gaming laptop that can play future games at ultra settings. Story 87: A pure gold toilet seat just like the one Donald Trump has. A private golf course and airplane as well. Story 88. Wouldn't being wealthy mean that more of the luxuries are worthwhile? Story 89. Personal chef, chauffeur, and personal assistant. I spend so much time each day scheduling appointments, texting, calling, and running errands. I still have to eat and commute, of course. This would free up a lot of time every day. Story 90. Staff, personal assistant, a chef, a cleaning lady. I can drive myself, and I would love to get a private pilot's license and fly myself around. But I would rather delegate menial tasks. Story 91. Definitely a home helper who kept the home clean and organized all the time. Story 92. Surfing AAA breaks from luxurious boats, all with a brand new quiver of boards. Then heli-ski the world. Story 93. It depends on the level of wealth, but I think a harem would be great if I were ultra-rich. A personal chef would be great if I were somewhat wealthy. Story 94. The only correct answer is a private jet. If anyone disagrees, they have never flown privately. It is very good. Story 95. First-class travel. I got to fly privately once. That was very nice. Story 96. Gardener. But really, you get an outdoor everything person and a cook, an inside everything person. Story 97. As a parent of 2 small children, housekeeper 100%. Story 98. I grew up extremely poor and am rich as an adult. Here is what I think is worth it. Expensive sheets made of Giza cotton. Organic restaurant quality meat. Homegrown vegetables, a luxury because they take space and time. Home cleaner. Mid-range luxury clothes. Business class flights. Regular cleaning of air conditioning systems. Skincare. Water filtering and dispensing. Story 99. A personal shopper. I hate going to any store, navigating through crowds, and getting frustrated while loud music plays. It is very overstimulating, and I immediately want to go home. Story 100. A private jet. No more transportation security administration and sharing an armrest with a random person. Story 101. Basically, anything that would free up a good chunk of my time. A private chef, a driver, a housekeeper, and so on. It is not that I am lazy, but that I can spend more time doing the things I enjoy. Particularly regarding the chef, I love cooking, so I feel I would learn a lot of good tips as well. Story 102. The high-class companions? On a serious note, however, a custom-built house allows you to indulge in all the activities that were difficult before, such as a movie room, a virtual reality room, an arcade game collection, a fighter jet hands-on throttle and stick setup, or any other hobby you previously lacked money, space, or time to enjoy. And if you don't have friends to share these experiences with, the companions can also be useful. Story 103. Helicopter and private jet. Means never having rush hour traffic waste my time and the ability to fly nearly anywhere in the world on short notice. Story 104. Housemaid and landscaping care. Continuous maintenance of lawns, trees, leaves, and gardens, along with deep house cleaning, can be physically demanding. Having a team to handle these tasks saves time and energy. Story 105. As someone who loves tattoos, I am willing to spend a significant amount of money on a skilled artist who works in a high-end shop. If I am going to have something on my body forever, I will invest to ensure it is beautiful and skillfully made. Story 106. Personal chef and cleaners. Any way possible to buy my time back from doing all the mundane tasks. Story 107. Cashmere clothing, scarves, sweaters, pants, etc. So divine. Also a housekeeper and gardener. Story 108. Personal driver saving time finding parking and driving around town. Story 109. I am not wealthy, but I still pay a little extra for the higher quality toilet paper. Story 110. Personal aircraft. No security checks. No wasting 2 to 3 hours per flight at an airport in line. No being crammed into a cabin, sharing air with 200 to 400 others. Story 111. Housemaid. Out of all the chores to do around the house, cleaning is my least favorite. Story 112. Being able to live where you want, country, state, city, or desirable neighborhoods. Story 113. Having a pre-furnished and ready home in a place you visit often means you do not have to think about what to pack. If the Rolls-Royce Phantom is as comfortable as it is said to be, then that is also a great option. Your own swimming pool is considered a luxury where I live. Story 114. A live-in chef. I would enjoy having delicious and nutritious meals prepared for me, as I do not enjoy anything about food preparation but would like to eat healthier. Story 115. Regular dental visits. And just because I am a car enthusiast. A Porsche Panamera Turbo. Story 116. Airplane. Fast aircraft with long range. Going to wherever I want, whenever I want would be amazing. Story 117. Most luxuries are expensive because they are amazing products or services, so it is easier to tell which one would not be worth it. Maybe expensive brands would be an instant pass as you are just spending exponentially more money for not a significant return. Story 118. My husband wants me to add grocery store shopper and nutritionist who prepares the food. Story 119. Comfortable socks? A nice cup of coffee? I do not know, Larry. I am watching DuckTales. Story 120. A driver. I can do many things while someone else drives. Story 121. If I get enough money, I will hire a driver. That will be sufficient for me. Story 122. Electric massage chair. Maybe. I am going to buy one next if my tax return next year is good. Story 123. High-quality food. Not necessarily fancy food, but organic and homemade as much as possible, preferably imported from Europe or Canada, where additives known to be toxic are not allowed. Story 124. Owning a few acres of land so that each of my siblings or my husband's siblings can build a house on the property with a small ranch filled with horses and cows. A way we can visit each other is by golf cart. I just love having family near, and it could possibly become a business with cattle or horses. Story 125. Above standard healthcare and private kindergarten and schools for my child. Story 126. Things that save time. Time becomes the most important currency. Story 127. Strippers and cocaine. Also, a pet lion to guard all my gold. Story 128. Having an entire floor for a guest, which includes a bathroom, their room, and a television room. Story 129. Time to do what you want to do, not what you need to do to pay the bills. Story 130. A cleaner would save a significant amount of time in my daily life. Story 131. I would love not to worry about things being on sale. In the last few years, I have increased my income to the point where I can now afford some things that I previously could not or would have been unwise to buy. I am still far from the level reached by those who have been wealthy for a long time, who will buy something as long as it is within budget without immediately researching whether it is cheaper at other stores or online. I still find myself doing a lot of mental calculations before buying things, even though I can afford them at full price. This is not a bad thing, as it ultimately saves me money and is the right approach for now. However, I would eventually like to reach a point where my time is more valuable than worrying about these details. Another example is deciding where to get gas. Even now, I can afford to get gas at the relatively expensive and more convenient station, but I always make it a point to check if there is a cheaper option not far away or one that offers more cashback or points on my credit card. It would be nice to have enough money to stop and get gas anywhere without feeling like I am wasting money. Story 132. If I had the money, I would hire a group to play Baroque music for me whenever I wanted. Story 133. Anything that saves you time or prevents you from repeating the same task. Story 134. A stylist. Having one would free up a lot of time you would spend researching trends, silhouettes, and picking out your outfits. Story 135. A house in the country with a big garden around it in a no-fly zone and no noisy neighbors. I just want some peace and quiet for heaven's sake. Story 136. Helpers to clean the house. Chef to cook. Security personnel to look after the house and perform miscellaneous tasks. Driver to escort family members and perform miscellaneous tasks. These 4 people make life incredibly easy and worth living. Story 137. A nice watch? I don't know. If I were rich, I imagine I would not change my spending habits all that much. Story 138. Personal chef. Personal nutritionist who also goes to the supermarket to buy food for me. Cleaners 3 times per week. Personal physical therapist and masseuse. Secretary. Personal shopper for clothes. Story 139. My wife wants our baseboards cleaned weekly, so she will stop complaining about them. Story 140. Just servants in general. Never having to cook, register a car, buy insurance, or pay bills. Never having to clean, yet everything is always clean. Never having to change your sheets or wash your towels. Story 141. Private jet. Literally fly anywhere, anytime you want on your own schedule in your own comfortable little cocoon. Story 142. An even better home theater than the one I have now. I have spent what can easily be classified as a large amount of money on the one I have now. It is good but not great. I just cannot justify spending even more. Story 143. New underwear and socks every day. I know that is terribly environmentally unfriendly, but my butlers, waiters, house cleaners, and foot masseuses would have an endless supply of nearly new underwear and socks. Story 144. Personal assistant. No more scheduling appointments or Department of Motor Vehicles visits, paying bills, answering emails I don't care about, or drafting emails for things I need. Taking my pet to the veterinarian. I would have to pay them well, but it would be worth it. Story 145. I would invest in my health by hiring a personal trainer, dietitian, and chef. Story 146. I think most things have value up to a point. I drive a Hyundai. A Porsche, while needlessly luxurious, has a quality worth paying for. To what price limit? I don't know. You can buy a $10 t-shirt. It is fine and will last about 6 months before it develops a hole or the stitching starts to fray. A better quality shirt is worth paying for. A $500 shirt? Probably not, at least not in my opinion. Story 147. Brand new towels, pillows, and underwear should be replaced once every 3 months. Story 148. Personal tutor for me and the kids or a personal chef. Chauffeur would be third on the list, and they would drive an armored SUV to protect us from other reckless drivers. Story 149. Personal chef, housekeeper, gardener, anything that saves time for you to spend elsewhere. Story 150. A personal manservant, like an extra family member who does all the work but is paid very well. Think of Alfred, but caring for a normal child instead of a violent sociopath who dresses like a bat. Story 151. Brand new socks every day. Like no socks washed and reused. New sock feeling every day. Story 152. Chartered plane so I could travel anywhere across the world without any travel issues. No need to worry about online check-in or flight delays. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.